Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Living on Lemonade podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lauren. Today's episode, it's going to be a December, what's, I'm already losing my words. This is not this is not a good sign. The kind of intention of December, I can't even think right now what inspiration message, I guess, or, um, kind of the intuitive message of December I'm going to lean into first, because oftentimes at the end of the episode, I end up missing things. So I want to make sure that I'm a little bit organized on the front and end and give you what's happening in December, and then we'll kind of lean into it. So in terms of the Living on Lemonade community, we have two soul care hours. The first one will be December 11th. It's on a Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. And you can get the Zoom links from the Living on Lemonade community, or if you're on my email list, I send them out. I do like a Monday weekly email with the new podcast episodes since they're released on Mondays, and then the kind of like what's coming up this week. So I send those out. And then also I sent out the monthly newsletter, which went out today. I guess I'm recording this on December 1st, so it went out yesterday. When by the time you hear or read this, if you listen on the day it comes out. So we have our soul care hour. This is the kind of community call. We do it on Zoom, and it's just a time to be together to share what's going on and kind of support each other. For those who need ideas bounced off, we can do that, or we just hold space for each other, and it's really lovely. We talk about our soul care practices, what's been filling our soul cup lately, and just kind of lean into that. And it's a beautiful time together. I always enjoy them. So that's on the 11th. The second one is on the 17th from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. These are always in Eastern time. So I try to do an evening one and a daytime one because I know there's a couple women in the Living on Lemonade group that are in the UK, so it allows them to also participate or for different time zones. If this is something you've been wanting to catch, but the time zone makes it difficult, let me know. And we can try to kind of accommodate that, right? And I can maybe shift the timings around a little bit, but if I don't know, then I kind of just keep it with what seems to be working, right? There's a couple other things going on. Our monthly class will be a self-care vision board hangout. It's going to be on Zoom. It's not going to be recorded, and we just hang out. Maybe I'll record the first part, a little bit of a training, but I did do one last year too, or maybe it was at the beginning of the year. Anyway, just time to hang out and work on visualizing different types of self-care and creating a board so it's something that we can maybe print or keep on our phone and look at throughout the year, and let it be a visual reminder and a collection of ideas. So if we're going through a bit of a weird place, we just have these things kind of at our fingertips of the different types of self-care and how we can implement it into our daily life to help support us through whatever chapter we're in. So that's on December 19th from 8 to 9. It'll be on Zoom. Again, you can get those links either through the Living on Lemonade Facebook group, which I always reference in the show notes, or if you join my email list. Most of the posts go out into, I talk most about it in the Facebook community. I do sometimes put the email list in the show notes. So if you go back, they are kind of sprinkled throughout. Otherwise, just message me on socials. I always leave my my tag. I really can't bring words to my brain right now. I always put my tag, like my name, on Instagram. MZZ Lauren Gilhula is my Instagram. Find me, send me a message, and I can give you the link or whatever, or just add you. I just need your email address and your name. And also, what else we have? We have a couple paid offerings this month that the email list already has. They got that on the first, and the Facebook group will hear about it tonight, like on Sunday night. And then the rest will hear about it, I guess, right now. So I have two paid offerings for either December or going into the new year. The first one is it's called Intention Setting Workshop. And it's going to be on December 10th from 8 to 9. It will be recorded and provided that everyone will get the replay who signs up for it. If you're not able to join live, there's still power in listening to it and doing the work when it works best for you. There's been lots of training opportunities that I've had that I wasn't able to join live, but thanks to the replay, I was able to sit down when the space was right for me and I was able to just really tune in and not be distracted. And like the energy and the intention is the same as when it's live. You might not be able to give feedback in the moment, but you're still getting the essence of what the container, what the intention is set for the training. So you can still get that kind of like energetic benefit in the value of the training and doing the work. So that will be, yeah, December 10th from 8 to 9. It is really what we're going to do is we're going to start with a meditation, do some cord cutting, kind of doing a reflection of this past calendar year. We'll do a meditation for it and severing the energetic ties. That's what cord cutting is called, like what that means to the things that we don't want to bring with us into 2025. And really, this is less about goal setting, especially if you're like, oh, I want to make this much a month or whatever your goal is, or I want to lose this much weight. Not this is not that. The self, how do I want to say this? This workshop is about the energy behind the actions of what we're doing in 2025 and going into 2025. This is about how do you want to feel in 2025 and set that this is your intention setting for how you want to feel throughout the year and let that be kind of the anchor and the compass, setting your compass so that throughout the year when, things happen, life is lifing, when you're deciding on what actions to take next or what to do next, how to act, how to show up, you can look, take that pause and ask yourself, would doing this will doing this support the intention or the way that I want to feel? And if yes, then do it. If no, reevaluate and what would be a more supportive action or behavior or thought pattern. Like there's depth to it, right? So we're just going deeper. How do we want to feel in 2025 and really anchor into that and let that be kind of the starting point. It's going to be really beautiful. There's a workbook for it. We'll start with a meditation, then we'll kind of go into I guess a bit of a training and chat and yeah, do some of the work together. So it's going to be lovely. The price is $33. Can do it via e-transfer, or if you're not in Canada, you can set up a link, get you set up that way. So just send me a message if you're interested and we'll hook you up. It's going to be a goodie. So I'll email out the replay afterwards so that you have access to it. The second offering that I have I've done this. This is the third year. They're kind of 2025, I call them inspiration readings. So this is when I use my own intuitive gifts and kind of tune into you. And I do a 6 card spread. There's different intentions for each card. And then I do a 6 card spread. I lean in intuitively to what 2025 may have for you, or kind of like the intention, the energy behind it, like we're doing in the workshop, and just kind of give you some support or some ideas, maybe bring you into awareness of something that you weren't maybe thinking about before. And this is why I love having these readings done sometimes, because it brings to my attention things I may have not been aware of from my own intuition and stuff. So I think they can be very powerful. These readings, I do a pre-recorded, I do the 6 card spread and then I do a recording on Zoom and I send you the links. You can watch it, you can download it, whatever you'd like. And yeah, those are $55 Canadian. Again, e-transfer is great. We can set up a link if you can't do e-transfer if you're outside of Canada. And I have capacity for 10 of those. I will be away for a couple nights with my mom, just some mother-daughter time, kind of at this what looks like a lovely Airbnb in the forest. And I'm planning on tuning in and just using that as really like grounded, beautiful time to put those readings together. And then depending on how that goes, if I have time for more, or even to do a few like early into the new year, if people decide after the new year, like I still want one done for the new year just to see what's ahead, that's totally cool. I just thought I would offer it in December so we can kind of be proactive about it, right? So reach out to me if you're interested in that. It's $55 and you'll get it emailed to you, a pre-recorded reading and kind of intuitive, yeah, messages from me. So that's what's up for December. We've got the free class, the paid workshop, 2 soul care hours, and the inspiration readings. So yeah, I'm excited for it all and we'll see how it unfolds. Now, leaning into December, I just need a quick drink of water. I feel like I've already been talking so much. There's a topic that I've been wanting to talk about on the podcast for a bit, and I think just the way things have unfolded, I've chosen different ones. Um, and I knew I wanted to do like a December intuitive message, or yeah, I think that's what I was calling them before. And this theme kind of keeps coming up. So I'm like, I guess this is gonna be part of it. So I think, yeah, I've had some kind of thoughts when I think about like leaning into the vibe of December and what would be supportive for this community of listeners and viewers. And part from my own experience and I guess what I interpret or how I see December, and also just kind of what comes to mind and flows through me sometimes when I get very grounded and just set the intention that the information that comes to my mind and I see images, I see words in my mind's eye sometimes, or kind of hear things. It basically just sounds like my own voice, but doesn't really feel like my own thought. I think that's the best way I can explain it. But I set the intention that that information that kind of comes to me as I'm like really grounded in my body and I just feel open to whatever wisdom comes up, that it be for, the highest good, most amount of healing, and that it land on the ears of those who need to hear it at the time they need to hear it in a way that resonates and is helpful and in the healing or just awareness part. If you've been following along for a while, I am very passionate about bringing awareness and just mindfulness to everyday life, getting curious. This is how we uncover some of the things, either beautiful things that we weren't aware of or things that have been holding us back that we aren't aware of. So when we stay curious, we can uncover those things and look at them, give them the love or whatever support it needs, and either uh build on it, expand with it, or let it go, right? So, December, I need to take a couple deep breaths. So I invite you, if you're listening to this in part of your day and you just need a moment to check in, feel free to just kind of join me. I'm just going to take a 3 or 4 deep breaths and just kind of sink back in again. Now, when I think about December, especially in Western culture, I think about the busyness that it can be, how busy it can be. Think about Christmas shopping, especially last minute shopping. I think about holiday parties, gatherings, either with work, with loved ones, friends, especially around the Christmas, that specific season, if you celebrate or whatever your beliefs are. But that togetherness, and within that, it can be, there can be a lot that comes with it in December. And any holiday, really, when we're getting together with loved ones. There's grief. There can be grief, right? And I talk about this a lot in this podcast. It's kind of one of the reasons I started it. Grief of who we're missing, both, longer term and anyone we may have lost since the last time we gathered for this reason, right? Since maybe last Christmas or even since Thanksgiving or whatever gathering, whatever um holiday togetherness you have, could have been a birthday that everyone comes to, right? Having those, having that layer, I think about just family dynamic in itself and how sometimes family doesn't always get along super well. And so there can be tension, there can be awkwardness, there can be, passive aggressiveness, navigating the dynamic of being around these people that you maybe don't see every day, or just like the collection of them all together, right? Maybe you hang out with some of them closer than others, but having extended family or however that looks, it can bring in a lot of dynamic. That's the word I want to use. I also think about the essence of the holidays. And when I think about being intentional, now, intention was the word when I was grounding before I came on here. Intention was the word that kept getting up. Yeah, sorry, coming up for me when I was leaning into like December. How does that feel? What does it represent? Intention, intention, intention was the word that was on replay and kept like, shining its light at me, blinking its light at me. So leaning into that, I think about how we're navigating this month. We're also winding down into winter, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. And we just have our first snow on the ground that's kind of staying. I don't know how long they'll stay, but I know there's been in other parts of Ontario and Canada, they've got like 50 inches, which is more than 4 feet. Yeah, it's they got a ton of snow. So we're seeing how the seasons are changing as well. We're going into winter later this month, which is that kind of hibernation period, that slowing down, that reflective time where we can kind of look at the past year or whatever season, however far back you want to go. And even extending on that, when you think of December, it's like the end of the calendar year. And for a lot of us in society, it is a reflection period amongst all what can be the hustle and bustle of the season, right? So when I think of intention and just kind of leaning in and seeing where that's taking me, the questions that come up are, how are you navigating this month with what you are setting out to do? What is your intention for this month? And with your to-do list, is there anything that you're forcing? What are the shoulds? Get curious on that. I was going to do an entire podcast, and maybe I still can, or maybe I can just summarize it here. I think I'm going to do a podcast on it. Yeah. But getting intentional and curious about even like gift giving and why? Because I see a lot online and, hear from friends, and it's just like, good Lord, I feel like we're just on this, like this rat race, weird hamster wheel. Oh, I'll go deeper into it. I will do another podcast episode on this because I am very actually passionate about it. And then I can share more anecdotes and context as to why I feel this way from my own experience and perhaps give a different perspective that uh if it's new to you, just get curious about and see how it lands, right? But December can be so chaotic and we can get so caught up in this like, oh, I have to get all the Christmas presents or however you celebrate before this and everyone's out and everyone's irritable and trying to shop and do all this stuff. And what came to me earlier was like, how is that affecting your everyday life, your home life, if you have a family, if you have a partner and children? How is that, desire or need or however you feel about it to get all this shopping and whatever done for this event? How is it affecting your everyday, the quality of your everyday life, and how does it impact how you show up not only for yourself in daily life? Are you putting more stress on yourself than perhaps is necessary? That's something you have to, I mean, it's always an inside job, right? We have to get curious at it for ourselves. And it always starts with us. We always have to look inside first. Because once we have that awareness, we can then see how it ripples out. And then how is it impacting, influencing your relationships outside of yourself? Are you more irritable because of the stress of the holiday season and having to do this, that, and the other thing, and you're snapping more at your children or your partner? You're getting irritable. Is it worth it? I don't know, right? I have a different philosophy about all of this, um, which belongs in a different podcast because really this is about leaning into December and getting curious about kind of the energy and looking at the season and the patterns and some of the natural stuff and then just whatever kind of comes to me intuitively. But these are all questions I kind of think about. I've been thinking about as I've been like leading up to this episode of like, oh, I'm gonna talk about December and see what comes up. But this intention thing was like intention, intention, intention. So what are your intentions for this month? How are you showing up for yourself to support yourself through the season, however that looks for you? It could, maybe you don't celebrate anything in December. Um, do you look at it as like a way of winding down the calendar year and doing some reflection? Does that sound good to you? And how can you do that for yourself in reflection of giving yourself grace for the past year or however long you want to stretch it out? Maybe you do it quarterly, who knows, right? But how are you showing up for yourself and then in an extension of yourself, how are you showing up for others and just coexisting in everyday life? And just be intentional this season because it can be a difficult one for everyone. So many facets. I named a few of them, but family dynamic, grief, um, even like financially, right? But then again, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now, but there's recipe for a lot of strain and resentment. It can get kind of heavy this time of year. So I just want to acknowledge that if that happens to be the way or your experience and come back to that one word, intention. Be intentional. What does that look like for you this season? How can you look at this month different from all the other Decembers in the past? And what can you bring to your everyday life from your tool belt of practices and understandings and wisdom through your own experiences to help support you so that if historically this month is more difficult for you, how can you support yourself and therefore others? Because when we support ourselves and take care of ourselves, the I think interpersonal, which is with others, those relationships, it's just a natural extension of ourselves, right? So how can you first support yourself to then support the relationship you have with those who are closest to you? If December's easy for you, then, great job. And just maybe continue to be intentional in what you do to make navigating life a little bit easier, right? With more grace and ease. So I think that's it for me. Yeah, intention, intention, intention. How are you being intentional this season to support yourself and others around you and just being mindful? And yeah, I have my topic for the next podcast episode, so maybe I'll record right away and schedule it, or I'll pop in again soon. Yeah, I'm sending so much love to everyone. Um, I hope to see you around. There's lots going on this month. So if you're in the Living on Lemonade Facebook community, pop in. I do little practices. I schedule practices and just really mindful um, prompts. I have one every day and they repeat because I think they're helpful. And some people pop in here and there, or maybe they're doing it on their own. I don't know. I just know that it's nice to have kind of these things to think about during the day, just to live a little bit more of a conscious life. And we're not just totally part of the rat race in this on this hamster wheel, right? It just kind of brings some mindfulness to our day so that we can feel more awake in our own lives, which I think is beautiful. All right, friends, I'm gonna end this podcast and get it all edited so I can have a nap before night shift. Um, Sending you guys love. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. I was going to pull a card for us for December. We'll see what the message is. This is why I'm always like, oh, I try to get, I want to be more, I will be more intentional on doing stuff in the front of the episode because I forget things like this. And there's been other times where I wanted to pull a card and I just totally forgot. So we need a beautiful message for this community for the month of December. Now I just shuffle until a card, whoop, we only need one. Until a card flips over or falls out of the deck. And then I take that as that's the one to use. Now I pull cards every day, which reminds me I haven't done mine today. So the card for December, hidden treasure. You're on the right track. Gift revealed. This is from the Ancient Stones Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. I use this deck every day because I find that when I get a new deck that really resonates with me, I've started, I pull a card pretty much every day. It's not common. I might go a couple, 3 days. Like after Darla died, yeah, I missed a few days just because I was in the thick of it. And it's funny because that's when we needed the most, right? But that's a whole other topic. Anywho, I want to stay um on task, but I use it every day to build kind of a relationship with the card and the messages and to get my own interpretations. This isn't one I'm super familiar with, so I'm going to read the words of Rebecca Campbell from her book and give you the message for this card. And we'll see if it resonates with anything that I've just said over the last however long I've been recording. So it says, you're on the right track, gift revealed. Within the heart of a humble rock, a profound transformation unfolds in silence, birthing the radiant beauty of a crystal. The hidden treasure card invites us to open our eyes to life's hidden miracles, to look for the blessings that are already here and the ones that are beckoning you forth. So often we give up just before we reach where we're going, losing hope at every moment. We're almost there. Um, in our fast-paced, instantaneous world where we can order whatever our heart desires with the touch of a button, we've lost the patience and dedication that's sometimes needed to have faith that the treasure we're working toward will arrive. The hidden treasure card is all about gifts emerging. These could be gifts that you possess at a soul level, or it could be gifts that are coming your way from helpful people, or it could be in unexpected gifts that are on their way to you because they're simply part of your path. If you've been working towards something for a long time, this card says keep going, have faith, the treasure's coming. If you have a new passion and are questioning whether you should commit to it, this card is encouraging you to give it all you've got. Regardless of what type of gift is coming to you, this is a very positive card, a good omen, a sign to keep going and welcome all the good that's coming your way. The activations for this, so these would be like they're kind of like affirmations or intentions. I'm open and ready to receive gifts in expected and unexpected ways. I'm open and ready to allow the soul gifts that are wanting to emerge in me to do so with ease and joy. Maybe these align with what your intentions are for the season. If you're looking for gifts and joy and, yeah, more lightness, there's a better word for that, but yeah, I hope that helps. And that you have a beautiful December and hope to see you around this month with stuff that's going on or on the socials and in the next episode. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye.